Morning everyone, it is April and I am going to share this beautiful little egg that I painted with blue gouache. I used some of the blue and a little bit of purple just to make it a little bit darker than what it was in the little tub. You're also going to need a brush, so any little brush, about a 0 or 1 tiny detail, and you're going to need this just to fold your card, and a scissor, and the paper is hot press watercolor paper and about a A5, so a A5 will be perfect for this. So I'm going to show you exactly how I painted this. So all you have to do is cut out a little egg shape like this on a piece of scrap paper and then trace it, or if you can just draw it on the card. Okay, so the little flowers that I drew on the little card are easy little shapes, and you basically do these little flowers that you did when you just started to draw, or you just started school, or maybe even before school. So the little shape is basically a little rounded little inside of the flower, and then tiny little petals like this. They can overlap. Don't worry if they're not perfect. This is going to make it very interesting. You can even make little long ones like this, the little inside. And I'm a little bit shaky because I had a lot of coffee. And then for the little leaves, I just drew a little line like this, and I don't always want a very sharp pencil because it hooks on the paper, so I just use a little bit of a blunt. I use a blunt pencil. I'm gonna stop saying little bit. Anyway, so that's the little leaf. That's the leaves that you want. That is the tiny leaves that you want. I nearly said little again, but yes, just little shape. Just shapes like this. Okay, and then you can also change it maybe to real little leaves. Oh, there, I said it again. Well, it is very little, tiny, and any shape, so just have fun. You can even go longer and fun. You can also, for the half little flower that I drew there, I just went like this, and then a little petal, so then stop the petal there, go around, you get the point, because obviously the little flower will finish on the other side of the egg, but we don't see that. And then unfortunately my pen that I used for the writing on here somehow is ruined, and I'm not sure why, but just use a pen with a nice small tip, because mine's a little bit too big, but it's fine. It's just for fun and just to show you what I am going to draw. But also try to use maybe something that is waterproof. This is a beautiful gray one, so this is also lovely to use. And just write Happy Easter. You don't even have to write Easter if you don't want to, if you don't, so you don't have to. And then just make little dots on the tips of these little ends of your writing. I used to do my daughter's invitations for school, birthday invitations like that. Oops, there's an R, and then that's it. So that's the little card we painted. Let's start. So I just drew an egg shape on a piece of paper, so maybe use cardboard for that because my paper was a little bit thin, and then it will be much easier to trace it on paper, or if you're very good you can just draw it directly on your paper. I used a putty eraser just to soften the little pencil lines. You can also draw a little small one next to the big egg if you want. You can have a little bunny next to it, just make it fun, and paint whatever you want. You can also use watercolor instead of the gouache paint that I used here, but I bought these paints quite a while ago and I wanted to test it on a card, so I mixed it with a little bit of water, and I ordered this on Etsy, but you can find them absolutely everywhere, and use whatever brand you can find. This is actually for children, the set that I bought, but it is quite fun, interesting colors. And just to darken it, I used the purple to darken it. And this is the set that I am going to use. So let me turn it to this onto the side. I'm going to use a tiny little plate just to mix the color in. And I use a small brush. I need some tissue paper. And I always have 2 glasses of water, one to rinse the brush first in with the mix of the pigment on, and then a the clean cup that's totally clean water that I change all the time, because you don't want dirty watercolors or gouache on your watercolor paint or your paint or on your card. So normally if your water is very dirty, it creates muddy colors. So I always change the other glass of water with clean water. And I keep the little pencil lines very light, and yeah, I'm just drawing those little shapes that I showed you in the beginning. And I will speed this up slightly because you know what I am going to paint and draw. So we don't have the whole day to do this. Let's keep it under a certain time. And these are the little shapes again. I drew them out with pencil first, so in case I made a mistake or make a mistake, that I can just rub it out quickly. I've never painted with a gouache yet, so this will be the first time, so I'm not sure how it will turn out, but hopefully it will be perfect. And just on the side there, so a few, and then on that side. You can obviously use any color that you want. You can use pink, you can use orange, you can use red, you can use a mixture of colors. I just decided to keep it blue and white because it's one of my favorite colors, and my kitchen is the same color as this blue, and I absolutely love it. So it's very Chinoiserie egg that we are painting, and we want to keep it fun, and even children can do this. So you can just trace this on a paper for them, and they can paint it. You don't even have to use proper watercolor paper for this. You can use any type of paper that's thick enough that will not buckle if you use the gouache, because with the gouache you don't use a lot of water. You only use a little bit of water just to make it flow easily on the paper, so you can distribute it evenly all over this little egg that we painted. And I mixed the purple with the blue so that I can create a darker blue, because the blue is a little bit too light. My clean water. And then I started painting in all of these beautiful little petals on the egg shape. That is the half flower that I painted on the top. And then some of them I made much lighter, and some I added in a bit more color. So change them up, don't paint them all the same color or same tonal value. So just darken some a little bit darker and keep some lighter. And some I just outline the little flowers. So you will see I did a few of that as well. Let's see if I zoom it in, if we can see better. And like I said before, you can use watercolors for this. So you can use French ultramarine, if you want to keep to the blue theme, or you can just use whichever colors you want. I think pink will also be very nice with the same type of flowers on. And you know, you can even use acrylic paint if you want, if you don't paint watercolor, if you don't have any watercolors. But it's quite a fun, you know, fun painting to do if you want to paint a few little cards. And these are the ones that I only outlined. I think another good option will be to use maybe some colored crayons or some ink stains pencils. That will also be beautiful. So, you know, just have fun and just paint a few. You don't have to use gouache. You can use anything you want. And you know, this is also a very fun tutorial, especially because it is nearly holidays, school holidays, and your kids can paint these by themselves. If you just give them some paint and you draw a few of these, and they can stencil it themselves on the paper. It will be a fun activity for them to keep them busy. And I will paint quite a few of these in the next couple of days, so I will share a few of them. And I'm also busy with my beautiful orchid painting that I'm currently recording for a tutorial on Patreon. So if you want to have a look at it, go and check it out on my YouTube channel. I've got it in the community section on YouTube, a little bit of the progress of how I painted that orchid. Phalaenopsis orchid, or the moth orchid, is one of my favorite orchids. But go and have a look, and there will be a step-by-step tutorial on Patreon for that. And currently we are in the autumn. I also painted some leaves, and then I am going to share the way I painted some of the sweet peas. This is a total beginners class, so go and have a look at that too. It is very easy for Patreon because most of my patrons on Patreon are beginners. So I normally paint a little bit technical flowers, but for this month I decided to just do a very easy painting, which is very, very easy. You will see if you have a look at the Patreon. I'm busy uploading the video right now. We have a problem with load shedding, so it should be uploaded and finished tomorrow. We edited the whole thing and it is ready for my patrons. Also, I give them a booklet with details of the colors, progress photos, the line drawing, and those they can keep forever. So you can just print it or download it and keep it on your laptop in a folder, and it's yours forever. I find it help a lot, and one of my students said that she prefers the booklet, including the individual JPEGs or PDFs or docs that I uploaded on Patreon for them to download as well. But sometimes it's just easy to quickly go and look at the reference photos and to see, you know, it's all in a booklet form and they can just page through that. So we are nearly finished with this egg. I have decided that I'm also going to outline it, which is quite a technical thing because I am very shaky sometimes, especially with fine detail, which is strange because you paint in watercolors, you paint tiny flowers, you paint tiny detail, but I find sometimes in the morning, especially after coffee, I'm a little bit shaky. So also, if you follow me on YouTube, or you don't, you should subscribe because we are going to share loads more videos like this. Also, we're going to share some of the more technical flowers that we are painting. So some studies will be very easy and fun. Some will be a little bit more in-depth, like some of the flowers that I painted. You will see some of them on Instagram if you follow me on Instagram. Or, you know, if you just want to follow along and see what we are up to. I use the tip of my brush just to dot in the middle of these little flowers to create the inside and to make it a little bit darker than the outer little side of the flower. And we are nearly done. So just dab it on the paper. And it's quite a thick consistency, so I don't have a lot of water on my brush for this. Darken it. A little bit more. And this is where I decided I'm going to outline the egg. This is a little bit technical because it's difficult. So shaky, but just fine little lines, and I'm not too worried if they're a little bit wonky and skew. And the brush is so tiny, so sometimes I put a little bit of washi tape around the watercolor brush just for it to make it a little bit easier for me to hold. Oops, there you go. Actually makes it quite interesting. It turned out quite nice. I'm going to tear it out of the book and fold it. And then I'm just going to use this to flatten it and smooth it out. And then I will cut the edges just to get it nice and straight. There you go. And this is how it looks. It's quite beautiful. I like it. I'm first going to do this in pencil just in case I make a mistake, and then I will rub it out when I'm done. And there you are. We finished. I hope you enjoyed it.